Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast P is for Plog. This is my weekly podcast series where I talk about my life as a professional plogger. Yes, I run around picking up trash for a living. That's it. I'm making it a job, god damn it. Today's episode is season 2, episode 16. P is for Paul Did That. Two of you know exactly why it's called that. Let's get going.
Plog it and tag it and post it and bin it. Plog it and tag it and post it and bin it.
Okay, sorry for the audio quality last week. I was trying to get a little bit more enthusiastic, so I wanted to sort of just shout into the microphone a little bit more, have a bit more distance. The problem with that is the audio wasn't so good. So I'm closer up. I'm going to try and be more enthusiastic, but again, Cleggy, you told me that you listened to the podcast to go to sleep to, so perhaps I should do it nice and quiet and peaceful, but don't go to bed yet. Listen to this podcast. Don't you dare fall asleep. Don't you fall asleep listening to this podcast, I tell you. Damn it. Let's get cracking. Got quite a few things to go. Let's give you a bit of a leaflet update. No, actually, let's backtrack it a little bit. I want to give an update. One of the things that I'm getting a little bit more conscious of is quite literally because you all know that I'm running out of money. I'm struggling to try and make it to the next month. It really is, the money is finished and I'm getting to the point where I can't pay the mortgage, and I don't really want that to. One of the problems I've got and is I don't want it to be a negative story. I want this to be positive and upbeat and let's do this. And I really still feel that this should work, but the reality is I'm struggling. So I just don't know how to sort of balance that between companies give me money, sort of begging them for money and trying to sort of get them on board, telling you how it's going, how I'm struggling, and sort of have positive stories. So I'm finding that balance so difficult, but I want to try and keep this positive. So just bear that in mind. I'm struggling, but I'm so determined. I said to people on the run today, I really want to have the point where I'm in trouble. I'm I'm in debt. I'm in a real problem, so that I know that there is 0% regret of me looking back and saying, if I just stuck that out for one more week, that might have happened. If I just tried this, I am literally living my philosophy of throwing jam sandwiches at the wall and seeing what will stick. And I am just trying everything and anything to do that. So one of those things that we talked about last week with the leaflets, still not had one company say, yes, let's give you 50 euros or 100 euros. It is literally that little amount that I'm asking for companies just to get a little bit of, get on board with sort of helping me out, which is, of course, all tax deductible for them. But not one company has done it yet. But I've had some really great conversations about with people about it, sort of going in there, giving them the leaflets. Maybe I'm just not pitching it well enough. I kind of go in there saying, yeah, there's an opportunity to support me, but if you don't, then at least you'll learn a little bit more about what I do. Maybe I'm not being aggressive enough in my selling technique, but I think that goes back to the hotels when in May when I was sort of asking hotels to put me up for free. What I wanted it to happen is I wanted them to, in effect, say, sort of come to me. I don't want to push them to doing it, say, do it, give me a room, or like keep on emailing them. What I found was the ones that really wanted to do it are the ones that I really wanted to stay at. Yeah, it only took one email. And if they understood it, then bang, they offered it. And that would happen in a short period of time. And I kind of have the same view here. I don't want to be push, and sort of really ramming down their throats and getting 50 euros from them when I want it to be they want to give me 50 euros. I want them to give me 100 euros so that I can sort of carry on doing this. I'm more happy in being less pushy on that. Maybe that's backfiring and I'm getting a little bit less sponsorship, but I feel more comfortable when I do, if I if I ever do. So But the leaflets, the conversations have been really good. I went down Cronje Strat this week, which is one of the big streets here in the north. I don't go down there very often, but they do know of me, I think, through their shopping association that they've got, where it's a community of shops. And so I walked into a couple of them and I said, "Hi, maybe you don't know who I am." They went, "Yeah, yeah, we know you from sort of the newsletter that they've got." So, which was fantastic. Went into a couple of shops and they've also said, "Oh, you're the banana," and that's really engaging. Or, "Oh, I've heard about you," or yeah, and it sort of have those things. So I'm kind of think the purpose of the leaflets, what I really wanted the leaflets to be was, bang! Suddenly I've got a little bit of money coming through. Yeah, let's get 50 companies suddenly give me €50. Bang! That's going to help me enormously to bridge that gap to the next month. It's turned out to be nothing. But what I'm hoping is it's another level of awareness, and I've got to think that I'm doing this yeah for the mission itself. The mission is the most important thing. So, yeah, if it goes to them, and it reinforces something they already know about me, that helps. If it doesn't, if they don't know anything about me, then they do know there's some weird leaflet from this guy in a banana suit. And then the next time they see me on the street, oh, I know about him. Oh, he came into the shop. So I'm hoping that it's kind of filling up that bucket to the point where they go, yes, let's help him out. So there's definitely no, there's not sort of a downside to this. I mean, it didn't cost too much money to get those leaflets out. And I'm hoping it's just raising awareness for what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do here in Harlem, and sort of the mission that goes on. It's is also a struggle in trying to get all that information, and that's one of the biggest gaps I've got, or one of the biggest difficulties I've got, is to sort of try and make people aware that it's not necessarily about trash. It's about positivity. It's about creating positive actions for positive stories, for a positive way forward to preserving our our futures while having fun today in the present. And that's so trying to get that balance is always going to be difficult for me. And I think I just have to accept that, most people will see me as a trash person, but it's only a few people will actually see me as, okay, he's trying to make an impact, he's trying to make a difference, and he's doing it through trash. But that's just one of the ways he's doing it. And hopefully, I will be. Yeah, what I really want to do is in the coming, if I can carry this on, then I really want to sort of build in those other elements. I was having a chat with one company this week, and they don't necessarily align with the trash, but they align with community. They align with sort of help within Harlem, and I really want to sort of bring that out. So I hope I can sort of come together with them, because that's the side of story that I really want to sort of flush out. I don't want to just be a one trick pony, and that's in so many ways. I want this to be positive stories, with the primary one being, of course, trash. That's going to be my daily driver, but it's also bringing in other stories just to show that and in fact, that's how I sort of go through life. I'm definitely not an eco warrior or an eco activist. I, I just am a regular person that is trying to improve my life and trying to improve the life of others around me, just by making small positive changes each year. And that could be through me doing something completely different. It's a positive action that I'm kind of suddenly doing that. Whether it's suddenly within the last year we started using the good roll, we're being a little bit more conscious about the toilet roll that we use. Oh, I need to contact the good roll to get them to sponsor me. That would be so cool. I spend so much of my time on the toilet. It makes perfect sense that they're my sponsor. I could get so many stories and reels done just from that time. Turn it into non-wasted time. Let me write that down. Okay, contact the good role and get them to sponsor me because I spend so much time on the toilet. Sorted. So the leaflets, no take up, but that's okay. These things will take time, and as I said, it's not a negative thing. One things I do want to do is it happened. I went into a few shops and said, "Oh yeah, we'll put it up in the window for you." I was like, "No, no, no. This is a leaflet for you. This is a leaflet for companies." So what I also need to do, and I'll just do this myself. I won't go and get these printed out. I'll just print them out myself on the printer. Is to have something that can go in a shop window that says, "Look, you can support me as an individual." So I have like in two halves. You're a company. Hey, why not get me on board as being your ambassador? Why not help, get me as an official sponsor or become an official sponsor for me? But then on the other side, at the other half of the flyer, it says, hey, if you're an individual, you can support me by buying me a coffee or a banana. And for the people that are listening to this podcast, feel free to like, subscribe, and all that stuff. But you can also buy me a banana in the link in the description. There you go. I've got a plug in. So I want to sort of do that in one half. And that kind of brings along the whole acceptance. I mentioned this last, over several times of I need to accept that the fact that people do want to give, sort of gift me some money to support me, and I need to embrace that. And one of the things that I have an internal problem with is I feel like I'm not giving them anything back. They don't see it like that. I had a whole conversation this morning with two people that, and they were like saying, no, that's not how we see it. We have this money and we want to help you out because it's in a, it's something that we want to do. It's not, you telling us to do it. We want to do it. So I need to be more accepting of that. But at the same time, I really wrestle with it internally. I have a sort of a gut wrenching moment if someone buys me a coffee or something along those lines, and I'm not giving anything back. I've got a few things in the plan, but one of them is shirts. So yesterday on Instagram, I launched my buy sort of, you can get a plogging banana shirt from me, or rather, I don't want to bring new shirts into the world. So what you can do is you can, and again, I'll put the link in the description. What you can do is contact me, and then I'll send you a iron-on transfer of a design I've got. I've made a plogging banana and turned it into a t-shirt, a fun t-shirt that sort of Team Banana. Yeah, we sponsor the plogging banana, that kind of thing. You can even have your own, because I'm one of the important things for me is I've got control over the whole process. So I'm using my Cricut vinyl cutter and heat press to sort of do it myself. So the design is all my own. It's all done by me. There's not, so I've not shipped this out to anyone. And it's the same with the transfers. I get them. I just do them on my desk, on my on the kitchen table downstairs. I just get the vinyl cutter out and make them. So they're all handmade, which means that I'm doing them individually. It's not like a batch run, and as a result of that, I can make these t-shirts individual. So one of the designs says, yeah, just tell me the name that you want, or tell me the text, and I'll change it. So it's something that it feels like I'm only really, yeah, it doesn't cost too much. So I think I'm charging €17. So yeah, that's including BTV VAT. So yeah, there's not, let's say it's like €15, and the materials are €5. So yeah, I'm making about €10 out of it, and it's taking me about 20 minutes of my time. But it is something that's a little bit of money. You get something in return. It makes me feel better if you get something in return for it. So yeah, the purest way you can do it is to buy me a coffee. The next way is to sort of buy one of my t-shirts, and the option there is as well, you can send me the shirt. If you've got a shirt that you have already got but you'd rather that I put it on for you, you can send it to me, and just for a couple of extra euros I will sort of do that for you, and then send it back. And really the postage is just at cost. So I'll get an extra couple of euros for that. So I think €5 as an extra service for me to actually put it on the shirt for you. um, but the postage actually is no different whether I send you a shirt back or if I just send you the transfers. The way that the postage here works, it's not much. So it's not a lot of money. I'm hoping that people will sort of come on board, and of course it benefits me in different ways, because if you're running around in a shirt that says "Plogging Banana," hopefully someone starts talking about it, and maybe they start following me on Instagram as a result of that. So it's a little bit of promotion for me as well as making it fun for you. And I kind of want to build that up. I want to turn this into something that's a little bit more of a, it's never going to be a business. It's never going to be competing. And I don't want to compete against the people that do this professionally. But one of the good things about this is I can expand it to different designs. So I want to sort of have different designs coming in, but I could also offer it to people that, hey, I'm running New York Marathon and I want a shirt with my name on it. You can just sort of, yeah, if it's just local, why not just sort of contact me, and then yeah, for €10, I'll get your name on there or something on there, and I can make it a little bit more. I think the service that I can offer for something basic, I'm never going to do lots of colors and things like that. So if you want lots of colors, then continue to go to these other places. But I think it is a little sort of, I don't want to say side hustle, but an extra element. You know, going back to that, throwing jam sandwiches at the wall, it's another thing that I could do to get a little bit more money. So why not sort of open that up? So if you're running a race and you want your name on your shirt, come to me. I can do it for you, and I can do it very quickly. I can get a nice font on there. I could even do it in your handwriting. I can get quite creative. I'm not bad at that. So those are the shirts. I'm excited. I've got one to make today for someone already. One of the things I wanted to do with that is I didn't want to bring shirts into the world. I want people to pimp up their old shirts. They've got an old shirt that they've got lying around. They're about to get rid of it. Why not sort of put it on there and give it a new lease of life, a second life in effect, before it ends up going into recycling. So why not sort of do it that way? I think that was sort of my idea behind it. But the first one I'm actually doing, he's bought a shirt, but the benefit of, I'm kind of okay with that as well. If someone wants to put it on a new shirt, that's fine. They're getting a shirt that they love, that is a great shirt that works well with them. That it's not like they're buying this cheap sort of shirt that they've just got no control over. They're choosing the shirt that they want to put it on, and I think I kind of like that. So I don't mind it going on a new shirt either. I think it's both of them have merits, and put it on the shirt you love, whether it's a brand new one or whether it's an old one. It's your choice. In terms of some other things, I haven't actually got to the reason why we're doing P is for Paul did that. I'll come on to that in a second. But first of all, just to let you know, I've made a couple of bids on some, or I've just sent out a couple of proposals to potential sponsors. I think I said it last week. You got that weird period of just trying to find that right time to contact a company. At the moment, everyone's on holiday, so there's like, oh yeah, everyone's on holiday. Contact us in a couple of weeks. I did a proposal this week to someone, a really exciting one. I think it'd be a perfect match, but they just came back. Yeah, we're looking at the 2026 budgets now, and so we can sort of consider it for that. I was like, no, do it now. I need the money now. So, now we're getting into the period of, okay, the only thing, it's not going to I'm not going to be able to get any money now. I'm now having to sort of get the money for next year, and that's good to know. But the more proposals I can get in, the better, and I'll be hitting more and more companies to see if we can get that long-term sponsorship that I really am hoping for. But yeah, I had my first 2026 budget statement that came in today. It was quite funny. I was like, oh God, yeah, I remember that from last year. I got the timing all wrong, and it was, no, we're too late. We set the budgets. So I need to make sure I get those in quickly. So why P is for Paul did that. And that comes on to a conversation I had with Ian and Bert today, this morning. And I said, I'm going to have to talk about this because it gave me such a one. I said to them, it's given me chicken bumps, goosebumps. I was chicken. Oh, like, see, the Dutch call it chicken skin, and the English call it goosebumps. So it gave me goosebumps straight away when he was talking about it. And the reason why it's Paul did that is because that's what Ian said. When I was like saying, I feel really guilty about people giving you money, and he said, yeah, but you're you know, you're in effect, you're giving me the opportunity to sort of help you on what you're doing, and it's really noticeable. He actually said, I was going through the park, you can spot the difference between, okay, this has been cleaned up by the council, or this has been cleaned up by Paul. And this is not to detract at all from what the council do and what people do, the sort of the cleaners, the street cleaners and everything. It is not detracting from that. You've got to put it into context. They're doing that day in, day out, and they're trying to get as many streets done. I'm just running down a few streets so I can be a little bit more focused on what I'm doing. and yeah, they're just picking up other people's trash. So this is definitely not a negative about what they do. It's just a reality of fact. If I'm in a street, I can be a little bit different in how I pick up trash compared to the street cleaners. They've got a great big machine that just goes down the middle, whereas I can skirt between sort of the bushes and in the places where they can't do it. That you'll see them in the flower beds. They go around with a blower to blow the things out, but that doesn't blow everything out. I've today I picked up some trash that was literally hidden in amongst all the lovely flowers on a flower bed because it was just trapped there. Blowing it with a blower didn't do anything. So it needs someone to actually get it out by hand to see it and then get it out. And so he said, yeah, I could be, the story he told me is that I could be going through the park and I see all this trash and then I come back through the park on the way back and it's all cleaned up. And he can tell if it was me or if it was a council that cleaned it up. And I don't know if it's true, but he said, yeah, that it was cleaned up. It was, yeah, it wasn't just the path that was clean. It was on the sides of the path as well. That was all clean. And then he got home, looked on Strava, and yeah, Paul was there. I don't know if that's true or not, Ian, but that was just so wonderful. I always get a little bit stressed that I don't, yeah, that I leave the big stuff things. You know, I'm picking up the big stuff, but the cigarette butts and things I don't pick up. So I don't sort of claim to leave a street clean behind me. I leave it cleaner, but there are definitely things that I think I support the the street cleaners, the council, the companies that do the street cleaning. And I think we can have this symbiotic relation, this sort of collaborative relationship. So, and there's lots of different ways we can do that. You know, I've seen when they pick up a street, then I can come afterwards, and then I can just get all those little bits that they missed just because they didn't spot them, and I know where to look. I know to look in that flower pot because there's going to be some trash in there. Whereas they, you know, they're going through and rushing and getting all these streets cleaned. Sometimes I've had people give me a comment or sort of shout out the window, say that's for the council to do. I've had that kind of comment before, or yeah, you shouldn't be picking up trash there. You should be, the council should be doing it. The trouble is the council won't necessarily get all the pieces. The council probably won't be there until later on that week when that trash could be more submerged and doesn't get uncovered, or it could be blown somewhere else. It could be blown into the water. So many times I will see trash on the water's edge. If I don't pick that up, I know at some point it's going to blow into the water. Bang, it's gone. So I, I think that argument of leave it for the council is completely wrong. You know, the right answer is someone shouldn't be throwing it there in the first place. But if it is there and you've got the opportunity to pick it up, then I want to pick that up. That's what I'm doing. I you know, I think I'm helping the council. I'm helping the the street cleaners to make sure that we do a thorough job. I think that is sort of the benefit that I can bring. I mean, there are definitely times where I'm running down the street and I kind of go, yeah, I can see the street cleaner behind me. There's not much point me picking it up, and I feel a little bit guilty if I do it, thinking, okay, is this really plogging, or am I just picking up something that's 1 minute before it would have been picked up anyway? And I know that is true, but there are a lot of the times where I will spot trash that is down a street that's just been cleaned. So to have someone say, yes, we notice that difference. And I think that really comes back to we do make a difference. I am going to get a little bit political at the moment. And I think we're in a position where I don't have that luxury to not be political. One of the things, and I was talking about this to my wife as well this morning, is unfortunately what's going on in America is giving people permission to be selfish. It's giving people permission to give up on protecting the future, or just to give up or feel so disheartened that they don't bother, or disillusioned, or whatever. I think there is a reduction in people caring at the moment. And that comes from, I think that's being I'm not saying that person that Trump is doing that. Oh, I didn't want to use his name, but yeah, I'm not saying that Trump is responsible for that, but he's enforcing, he's giving people an excuse in a lot of the Western countries to be more selfish, to be more focused on themselves, to be less focused on the community, to be less focused on the environment. Now we had the plastic straws that he unbanned. He's now got it with the windmills. He's got it with green energy. It seems to be that he's given people permission to completely ignore the stewardship that we as a species should be doing. We should be doing for our children, our neighbors' children, the whole world's children. We should be doing it to make sure that there is a future afterwards. But my whole purpose is to make sure that we have fun doing it today. In effect, the reason why I pick up trash, I didn't pick up, and going back to sort of Ian about, Paul did that. I didn't do it so I didn't do it for him to notice. I did it for me to give myself a positive action, a positive story, to make myself feel good that I am trying to do something, no matter how small, and do something for the future. That's what I did, what he noticed is in effect a byproduct. But it does show you that it does get noticed. To have someone come up to say that to me is amazing, or to have someone, it doesn't have you don't have to inspire someone, but if someone notices it, that's just as important. Maybe that's even more important, because they will see that someone is trying to do something. They will see that someone does care, instead of the news that we look at, which is all just horror. A positive action doesn't have to be 100 liters of trash. It could be just a single piece of trash. It could be just opening the door for someone. It could be just being kind to someone, smiling to someone, saying hello to someone. That can really make a difference. So P is for Paul, did that. But whatever your name is, replace the P for Paul with J for Joe, R for Rebecca. Do something positive, create a positive action, and turn it into a positive story that someone might see. You might not realize it, but people do see it. My name is Paul. This is my way of life, and I hope you've been enjoying these podcasts. I'll speak to you next week. Bye.